This is the engine air filter cover. There are 4 screws holding it in place. You could use a Phillips head screwdriver or a socket wrench to remove them. I'm actually going to be using a T-handle with an adapter, and the socket size is 5/16 inch 6-point. But before I unscrew the screws, I'm going to have to spray them with some WD-40 because they have rusted. While the WD-40 is doing its thing, I'm going to work on disconnecting the air intake hose from the throttle body. Unplug that cable and tuck it out of the way. Next, I'm going to loosen the metal collar which holds the hose in place. But before I do that, I'm going to note how tight it is by sticking a socket in the gap. That way I can reassemble it exactly how it was. I'm going to be using a 7/32-inch socket to loosen the screw on that collar. You might want to wear gloves, unless you don't mind your hands getting dirty. With a pair of channel locks you can loosen the hose clamp there and then move it the rest of the way by hand. Using the channel locks as a pry bar now, you can dislodge that assembly from the hose. So the motion is going to be like this. As you can see, it's loose now. By the way, be aware that the battery terminals are right here, and you don't want to put your hand or any metal tool across those. By now the WD-40 has had some time to do its work, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the 4 screws that hold the engine air filter cover. That top left screw is the hardest one to get to because the relay box is slightly in the way, so you're coming in at a bit of an angle to unscrew it. There's also this hose that needs to be disconnected, and the plastic clip which holds the mass airflow sensor cable needs to be detached from the air intake cover. You can do that by prying on it with something like a screwdriver. The filter just lifts right up from the air intake housing. And as you can see, this one here has accumulated quite a bit of debris and is certainly due for replacement. Pick out any large pieces of debris left in the housing. I recommend going one step further and vacuuming the housing while you're at it. More than likely there's bits of sand or gravel in there. The new filter is easy to install, just align its shape with the shape of the housing. Also inspect the filter's gasket to see if it's warped. And now to put it all back together. Reconnect this part by squeezing it towards the hose like this. Pinch that little hose clamp back there with your fingers and slide it back to where it was originally. Now reconnect this other hose. Push that plastic clip back into the air intake cover and reconnect the mass airflow sensor cable. Retighten that collar which secures the air hose to the throttle body. Reconnect that cable into the throttle body and the cable harness into that clip on the hose. And now I'm going to crank the engine and show you that everything is working as it should.